Hey guys, welcome to my channel Harsivo and let's talk about Amazon's 16 leadership principles. So guys, if you are preparing for Amazon interview, this is one of the most common interview questions that you might be asked from Amazon interviewers. So what are the 16 leadership principles? Number 1 is customer obsession. So let's discuss what it is at Amazon's website and what it actually means, and then what kind of questions can be asked. So what is customer obsession? Customer obsession is like successful leaders always start with customer and work their way backward. They work hard to earn and maintain customer trust. Even though they pay attention to competitors, customers are always the priority. Okay, now what kind of questions can be asked from this sections? So you might be asked like, who are your most difficult customers? Tell me about the time when you didn't meet customer expectations. What happened and how did you deal with the situation? How do you go about prioritizing customer needs when you are dealing with a large number of customers? Hope this makes sense. Okay, now let's discuss about the number two leadership principle, which is ownership. Okay, so what is ownership? Leaders think long term and prioritize long term value over short term success. So we should always prioritize, and we are the owners, and we act on behalf of the companies, not just ourselves. So we should act on behalf of the company. Okay, from ownership section, what kind of questions can be asked? Like, tell me about a time when you took on a task that was beyond your job responsibilities, or tell me about a time when you had to work on a task with unclear responsibilities, or tell me about a time when you showed an initiative to work on a challenging project. Okay, next is invent and simplify. So let's know what it is. Leaders always seek ways to simplify and always require inventions and innovations from their team. Their thinking has no limits, and they always search for new ideas from everywhere. And as they try new things, they expect to be sometimes misunderstood. Okay, now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. It could be like, describe a time when you found a simple solution to a complex problem. Tell me about a time when you invented something. Tell me about a time when you tried to simplify a process but failed. Failures does matter because we learn a lot from failure. What would you have done differently? It's kind of retrospective. Number 4 is are right a lot. So let's see what it is. Leaders are right most of the time. They possess good instinct and strong judgment, which enables them to see diverse perspectives. So now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this. It's like, tell me about a time when you were effectively used your judgment to solve a problem. Tell me about a time when you had to work with insufficient information or incomplete data. Tell me about a time when you were wrong. Number 5, learn and be curious. So now let's see what it is. What is learning and being curious? Leaders always seek ways to improve themselves and never stop learning. They are curious about new opportunities and they are not afraid to explore the unknown things. Now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from these sections. It could be like, Tell me about an important lesson that you learned over the past year. Tell me about a situation or experience you went through that changed your way of thinking. Tell me about a time when you made a smarter decision with the help of your curiosity. Number 6 is hire and develop best. So, what is hire and develop best? Every hire and promotion, every hire and promotion decision made by the leaders raises the performance level. Leaders recognize talent and are willing to support them in their development. They invest their time to coach and mentor others. You should always invest time in coaching and mentoring your team, especially the new joiners. Now, let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. Tell me about a time when you mentored someone. Tell me about a time when you made a bad hire. When did you figure it out and what did you do? Or also, you can be asked, like, what qualities do you look for in potential candidates when making hiring decisions? Number 7 is insist on highest standards. So, let's see what it is. Leaders are continually raising the bar of their standards and motivate their team to deliver high quality services, products, and processes. Leaders make sure that problems are fixed and defects never get set down the line. Okay, now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. It could be like, tell me about a time when you were dissatisfied with the quality of the project at work. What did you do to improve it? Or tell me about a time when you motivated others to go above and beyond. Or describe a situation when you couldn't meet your standards and expectations on a task. Number 8 is think big. Let's see what could describe think big better. Leaders think differently and they take really good decisions that can inspire the outstanding results. They also expertly partake in calculated risk taking. They think outside of the box to serve customers and achieve a significant impact. Now, let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. Think big. Tell me about your most significant professional achievement. Tell me about a time when you had to make a bold and challenging decision. Or tell me about a time when your vision led a great impact. Number 9, bias for action. Now let's see what it is being biased for action. In business, speed matters. Many actions and decisions are reversible and do not require extensive study. They have a bias for action with long term gains in mind. Okay, so what kind of questions can be asked from this section being bias for action? Give an example of work when you calculated the risk and actually resolved it. Describe a situation when you took the initiative to correct a problem or mistake. Or tell me about a time when you required some information from somebody else but they were not responsive. What did you do in that situation? Okay, so next is frugality. So now let's see what is frugality. Leaders find ways to accomplish more with less and maximize profit. They take constraints and turn them into self sufficiently and in an invention way. Let's see what kind of questions can be asked from frugality. Okay, so it could be like describe a time when you had to rely on yourself to complete a task, how much confidence you have on yourself. Tell me about a time when you had to be frugal, or tell me about a time when you had to rely on yourself to complete a task or to complete a project. Number 11, on test trust. So, for completing any work, trust is a most important thing. Now, let's see what it is. How leaders earn trust. Leaders speak candidly, listen actively, and treat others respectively. Trust me, guys. Being an active listener is the most important quality for leaders. In my career, I have met many leaders and I have seen one thing, one special quality in all, that they are very active listeners. They are not afraid to be self critical in front of others, and they benchmark themselves only against the best. Okay, now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from the trust sections. It could be like describe a time when you had to speak up in a difficult or uncomfortable environment. What would you do to gain the trust of your team? Tell me about a time when you had to tell a harsh truth to someone. It happens generally when you give feedback to the customer or when you give feedback to your team people. It sometimes becomes really hard to tell the truth when they don't perform well. Number 12, deep dive. Okay, so now let's see what it is to be deep dive. What is the meaning of deep dive? Leaders focus on details, work at all levels, and they audit frequently. They are very active. You need to make charts, come up with lots and lots of documentation work, and then retrospective accordingly. Okay, the questions that can be asked from deep dive section are, tell me about the most complicated problem you have had to deal with, or give an example of when you utilized in-depth data to develop a solution, or tell me about something that you have learned in your role. Number 13, have backbone, disagree and comment. Okay, so now let's see what it is, how you can become the backbone of your team, how you need to disagree sometime. Leaders are not afraid to speak up and challenge decisions in a respectful way whenever they disagree. Sometimes it is required to disagree with the team, and you should never be afraid of that. They do not compromise even in challenging environment, and once the team finalizes a decision, these leaders fully commit to it. Okay, now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. It could be like, describe a time when you disagreed with the approach of a team member. What did you do? Or give me an example of something you believe that nobody else does. Or tell me about an unpopular decision of yours, like that people did not like, but it really worked out well. Okay, number 14 is deliver results. Okay, now let's see what it is about delivering results, how you can become result oriented. Leaders need to focus on critical things in their work and deliver quality results promptly. No matter what, they overcome obstacles and never settle. Number 15, these two are new, 15 and 16. So 15 is strive to be Earth's best employer. Okay, let's see what it means. Leaders need to focus on critical things in their work and deliver quality results promptly. No matter what, they overcome obstacles and never ever settle. Okay, what kind of questions can be asked from these sections are like, when was the last time you built a team? What did you consider when assembling it together? Or give an example of a time when you developed the careers of people on your team? Or how have you managed varying strengths and weakness of the members in your team? It's really difficult when you need to manage the weakness of your team members. Okay, so what's number 16? It is success and scale bring board responsibility. So let's see what it means. Okay, so leaders need to focus on the critical things in their work and deliver quality results promptly. No matter what, they overcome obstacles and never settle. And leaders should start in a garage. Like, no, that's not the thing. Like, Amazon had started in a garage. That's why they are saying that they had started in a garage, but they are not anymore. Now, today, Amazon is like world's number one firm in retail and IT. Okay, now let's see what kind of questions can be asked from this section. Describe a moral or ethical dilemma when you have faced in workplace. How did you handle it? Or give an example of a time when you have left a project in a better position than you have found it. Or what's the largest impact you have had on your environment? So guys, just prepare for these kind of questions from the sections. You can also read some of the methodologies like STAR method, in which STAR stands for situation, task, action and result. Give some example of it, like how you actually handled the situation. Or you can also read CAR method, which is like context, action, result oriented thing, and prepares for some examples on that. And guys, all the best, and thank you for listening to me. Do well. Bye for now.